Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of Stacker News Live. Damn, I wasn't ready for that one.
How's your week going? You were in the middle of a sip. My week is going the best. It's the best week. It's the best week ever. Probably. I mean, really? How is it the best week ever? What did you do? Nothing that good. I mean, I just feel I don't know. I'm trying to take every time you ask Super how he's doing, he says superb or fantastic.
That's true. Yeah,
and I like that a lot, and I kind of want that more of that in my life, and I want to be like really framing my day that way, and I just don't do it very well. So this is the best week of my life right now.
Wow, this sounds good. This sounds amazing.
Yeah.
If you started doing that, I don't know when would have believed you.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is like you know, like I like to bias towards being like super, I guess, like let it all out and like not hold it back. And so it would be dishonest and it would be weird to say I'm doing great all the time, but I'm not doing bad. So I like actually don't know how I'm feeling most of the time. I'm like, okay, but I don't know. Anyway, how's your week going, Car?
It's going good. I
just good, huh? My week is the best, and yours is just good.
Well, I left RHR TFTC this week, so we had the final RHR yesterday. I'm going all in on SNL.
Yeah, this is it now. This
is my only job now, Stackers. SNL. No, that's not true. I'm going all in on Pleb Lab. Not that SNL's bad or anything. It's just
it's not really paying the bills.
It's not paying the bills. Guys.
Yeah.
This is basically charity.
It's just our moms watching this, and
maybe girlfriends.
Yeah.
Wait, does your wife watch this?
No. I think she has enough of me already. To be honest. So.
Well, girls are watching this. I'm sure it's all girl stackers.
I can't even orange pill my wife. So.
Nah. Well, soon maybe.
I mean, she's not orange pilled, you know, but she just doesn't care. She's just like, who cares?
Why doesn't she care for?
I don't know. You gotta ask her. But I think it's just she hasn't found it intriguing enough. And me getting like foamy at the mouth talking about Bitcoin, it's probably like not.
Well, tell her about Pleb Crafts. We're having Pleb Crafts in 2 weeks by Pleb Poet, and I think that might be getting some women in here. You never know.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. But let's get to it. We got a lot to cover today. Lots has happened in Bitcoin this week.
It's been a great week.
And Car and I are going to take you through it. At least the stuff that ended up top on Stacker News. First, we'll do a little bit of meta. So
yeah, what was this? I saw this Wild West mode. I'm like, who's doing?
You're too busy moving jobs to see this, but yeah, no, it's wild. So Wild West mode is like basically you get like an unfiltered point of view on Stacker News. So we've been starting to get some really bad kind of trolley behavior on Stacker News, which is inevitable. These communities eventually succumb to
Reddit.
Yeah, eventually succumb to spammy behavior. But all historical communities, if you like read back to like early BBS, early Usenet, they all were great and like quite civil for a long time. They had some moderation and stuff, but then eventually they succumbed to what they call, I believe, Eternal September, I think is the term. Like when AOL basically came online and a bunch more people like got internet access. It kind of like ruined these communities that were somewhat gated by like being an enthusiast. Anyway, so we've started getting some negative posting and stuff. So we need negative feedback. Like it isn't like we can either ramp up like posting and commenting costs a lot, or we can begin to allow users to tell us when stuff is bad and use that to kind of reel it in a little bit. So Wild West mode is like where you don't care that there is maybe someone saying the N-word or whatever on Stacker News.
I never see this.
Yeah, you kind of, it's not all over the place, but there's like one user in particular who does this a lot right now. And they do it from a few different accounts. So
wow, I never see this.
Anyway, trolls, dealing with trolls. So we have basically a flagging mechanism, and then we use the web of trust to determine whether, like, how much the flag counts for, and then things will get downranked. If you're not in Wild West mode, you're in what I call tenderfoot mode, whereas like that's kind of the default point of view for users, where they're not going to want to see the N-word, they're not going to want to see people like being super mean or vicious or whatever. So it'll get downranked, and then after a certain number of flaggings, it'll get hidden from view.
Wow.
And but you can view all of that in Wild West mode. So if you're a wild kind of guy, which I'm a wild kind of guy, I'm in Wild West mode. You can turn on Wild West mode and see everything and not have any kind of negative feedback in your world on Stacker News.
There was a time, like in the early days of Thriller Bitcoin, where I had comments, and for the most part they were good, but you would get every once in a while like. But I was just using Discuss, and then I took it off because it wasn't worth it. Even Discuss probably has like passive filtering mechanisms, passive moderation, but it opens you to a host of issues, though.
Yeah. You don't really. That's why I like making it optional. Like we kind of have to have negative feedback, but I want the effects of it to be optional, and so this seems like the best possible thing that I can do.
I'm going to keep leaving it off because I never see that, but until it gets really bad, then I'll turn it on.
It's on by default. So right now, unless you've gone into settings and have turned on Wild West, or Wild West is the movie with starring what's his name? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Got a show title.
Will.
Wild Wild West. It's the Wild Wild West.
But anyway, by default, you're not in Wild West mode. You have to turn it on.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it on then.
Okay.
I want to go back to
anyway,
Wild Wild West.
There's like a conversation around it and a bunch of stuff. It'll get tweaked over time, but that's meta. Anyway, on to like real news.
Cash App Lightning nodes. I saw this. This was a good one by Rook.
Yeah. So Nicolas Burtey, who works at, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he works at, founded Galoy, as CEO of Galoy too, I believe. He found Cash App's Lightning nodes and did like some interesting analysis on them. They're like relatively hidden, but he found them. Basically, they only connected to 3 nodes: OKCoin, River, and OpenNode. And then they prevent people from routing through their node. So they have like an outgoing fee on their node of like really high, like nearly 100% of your transaction will get eaten by fees. So don't route through their node, is what they're telling you. And then they also have a bunch of smaller channels is the other thing.
I was talking to, we have Nick from Galoy. I'm sure he doesn't mind. Everybody knows he works inside of Pleb Lab. But we were talking about this the other day. And I was asking him, I was like, what was the reason behind this? And he was just trying to say that like the amount of money that they're charging to send through them, I guess, was enormous.
Yep.
So that was the point, I think.
Yeah, I think, well, it's just like a strategy for preventing like routing through your node, because a lot of these routing algorithms on Lightning, they'll take into account how expensive it is to go along a route. And so if your route is extremely expensive, it will never get taken. And then you have less issues with like all of your liquidity getting drained.
I have a question for you, Keyan. Do you think this is adversarial of Nicolas to do from Galoy, or no, this is just,
I mean, this is public information. It's, perhaps Cash App didn't want their nodes to be known. They didn't create aliases for them that would allow them to be known. It seems like they're not accepting any connections to them.
Oh, okay. So it's not an adversarial reason to show this stuff. It's more of it's out of public data.
It's just curiosity, I think. And then, wanting to satisfy other people's curiosity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of fun. Danny, who goes by Danny Deasy on Stacker News, he works at Cash App, and he's like, we have more than 2 nodes. Do you know what node the pub key of node 3 is?
Oh, interesting.
And then Nicolas went on and found it. So they're like they're not trying to like actively hide these things. They don't care that much. They're not going to go and like, shut down these nodes and spin up new ones to hide them.
Okay. So it's one of those things where it's out there, it's information. It's whether somebody wants to point out.
Yeah. You can come and look at their like who they have. It's like a bunch to River, a bunch to Open Node, little tiny channels.
Interesting,
but kind of cool. There's like a good thread on it too. Like Tony Giorgio comes in and talks about the Bitcoin plus presentation that Cash App gave.
Oh yeah, what did he say?
And they just kind of talked about the architecture of how their node is set up. They use LDK, and then LDK is known for allowing you to like really like custom define how your node operates. And so they have like a bunch of, it's like tightly integrated with data, like redundancy systems and all other kinds of things that you might want in an operation like Cash App. But yeah, pretty cool to find out their. I don't know, just kind of. I was kind of curious how he found it. Like what leads you? I guess you're probably paying. You can look at the Lightning invoices that are generated by Cash App, and I guess identify the nodes that way. So not too hard to figure this out unless they're using some kind of service.
Tony, he's in Pleb Lab now, so just ask him.
Tony will know how to find out all the information. Next top story is kind of related. It's lnproxy. This is a way to like hide your node's public key when giving an invoice to someone else. Basically, what you do is you give it an invoice, and then it wraps your invoice, and in what is called a HODL invoice.
They start all over.
It's what?
It's really hard for me to imagine this. Is there a website? What do you?
Right. Okay. So let me start from the beginning. Okay. All right. It's cool.
I really want to understand this, but it sounds really.
So you have a home node.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
You got a CIA agent wants to send you money, but you don't want the CIA agent because you're informing for the CIA car. That's who you are in this story, right? And the CIA is paying you for your information, but you don't want them to know your node because otherwise you're buying LSD and stuff on the darknet markets, and so you don't want him to know your node pub key. So what you do is you go to lnproxy, you put in the invoice you're going to give to the CIA agent.
Boss.
lnproxy takes your invoice, it pulls out relevant information on it, and then it wraps it in other information.
Who made this?
And then so what happens is the CIA agent pays his node, and then his node pays your node, and that's basically how.
Who made this? Who's this legend in the making that made this?
He's a NIM.
God bless you.
Tony was telling me that he did a great job of being anonymous, like because he said this was like he created a NIM specific for this project.
Seems like more and more people are doing that these days.
Yeah,
have you noticed that?
He said his OPSEC was like perfect.
More and more people are doing that. One-offs, baby. I love it.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Can we see the website?
Oh yeah, I have a little bit pulled up.
Definitely should write about this.
Yeah, here's the website. They do a little bit. They kind of walk you through. It's a very simple, minimal tool. If you go and you look at the code, it's like I don't know.
You just need a nice little like show and tell kind of thing.
It's like a couple hundred lines. It's like very small.
I could totally do like a little tutorial on this.
About 600 lines of code. That's about all that it is to run the service.
I love this, man.
And so here's me with here's a Stacker News invoice that I generated.
Okay.
And so you can see it's going to fund my account with 1,000 sats. And then this was the original one. And then I wrapped it. And so it has a totally different signature and therefore pub key.
That's awesome.
Than the unwrapped version. So if someone could pay this and they wouldn't know my pub key.
That's awesome. Do you think this is a way we get around? Do you think this just it becomes available for every wallet that gets, like, let's say Mutiny, for example, right? Let's say Mutiny, can they just implement this for every send? Or
it would be, it's only, this is for receives.
Oh, for receives.
Yeah.
Okay, could you do this for like a different wallet? Like, I don't know, whoever. Pick your favorite wallet. Could I do this on Stacker News? You have a wallet?
Yeah. So you could do that. You could use this to pay a Stacker News invoice, and then whoever's sending the money that arrives at the Stacker News wallet would not know that you were sending money to Stacker News.
Could you turn this on by default? Could you implement this and turn this on by default? It's like where I'm trying to get at.
It's not like it's not. Yeah, I mean, I could. It's an API call to their service. I think you can run one of these yourself and spin up a Lightning node too to do this, and then you could periodically change that Lightning node if you wanted to. This resembles something that they do that is proposed at the protocol level called rendezvous routing.
Oh shit!
And
really?
so this would be this is kind of more like application layer implementation of rendezvous, what is called rendezvous routing, but
because they haven't implemented it yet.
Yeah, as far as I understand, I don't know of an implementation that does rendezvous routing yet.
Pretty good, dude.
But it might be out there in the wild. But it's just a really cool like proof of concept. Kind of shows like what you can do on Lightning currently. Like
whoever made this, you should submit it to Legends of Lightning, the Bolt.fun hackathon that they're doing. So I would.
Yeah, I don't know. Do they have a prompt for Legends of Lightning, or it's just like anything? Yeah,
if you go through Bitcoin, we did one. We did a whole write-up on it yesterday night. So,
what is does it have to be an application?
There's different segments.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 Bitcoins up for prize. So I would, use that for a reason to keep building on this.
Cool. Very cool project.
Really
excited.
Cool. Really cool.
There's a good back and forth with Tony and the.
How did I miss that? I'm gonna check that out
in the comment thread too.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite one this week.
Yeah,
or one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, next up story is the Thunder Games AMA. So they released a new game, Solitaire. You can play Solitaire, that classic game that some of us people once played on Windows back in the day, like when internet sucked and you didn't really have like other games to play. You'd play Solitaire. But who doesn't love Solitaire?
Yeah,
you got it on your phone. Have you?
Yeah, I've been playing it. Yeah.
Have you stacked any sats yet?
No, I can't finish. It's the problem. So if you're listening to Thunder Games, the biggest problem I have with it is that I can't figure out how to save my game. So as soon as if I don't finish the game, then I can't go back to it and save it.
Have you logged in yet?
No, it created an account for me.
Oh, I think you have to log in with your Google or Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And then I think you get. Your information gets saved.
Okay. Well, yeah, it wasn't self-explanatory. I thought it was just going to save it, and then it didn't save it, so I lost the game that I was trying to go after the other day. But it's super addicting, though. It's super addicting. I want them to make a Frogger.
A Frogger?
Yeah.
Here's the game. I found a video of someone playing it on YouTube, and it looks really...
It's a fun game, dude.
Looks really cool. They also explained like how the ticketing system works in Thunder Games. It was a little confusing to me when I first started using it, but it's pretty clear now. Basically, you win as you play the game. Mm-hmm. You kind of win like more or less raffle tickets.
Yeah.
That then get like pooled in a prize draw, and like your place in the prize draw determines how many sats you get.
Yeah, I love cards. I used to play cards.
I used to play Solitaire all the time too.
I played against Ben Carmen once. It's tough to beat.
In poker?
Yeah, never play.
More in the AMA. There's lots of like good stuff. Dez is in here.
Oh, I asked her a question. I asked somebody a question. I don't know if did they answer? I think they answered it.
What did you ask?
I asked them, I was like, why did you guys make Solitaire your first game? And then they're like, no, we've made 5 other games. I was like, this whole time?
Wait, you didn't know that they had all these other games?
I knew who Thunder Games was, but I didn't know they had made games. Like, I was like, so you made 5 other games before you realized that you needed to make Solitaire? Which was kind of surprising.
Yeah, oh, here you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that... I thought it was pretty obvious. Like, you should make the most entry-level game first, but Yeah, they said it was their 5th game. Yeah. Hey, it's actually our 5th game on the App Store. Our first was hyper casual called Bitcoin Bounce, where you jump along a blockchain and try to, like, who would play that? I wouldn't play that.
I've played Bitcoin Bounce before.
Yeah.
Of course I would.
We decided to release this card game to appeal to a wider audience. There you go. Now you're getting people like me, good or bad. It's great, dude. I'm playing it right now. Might play it the whole show.
Yeah.
They should do a Hold'em. Oh, dude. Thunder Games. Make a Hold'em. I mean, I will. Yeah, then we can compete. Then we can compete playing Hold'em on our phones across the world with all these Bitcoiners. Dang. I hope they are going to do that.
That'd be cool. I think there already are Bitcoin poker games, but yeah, I don't think they're mobile apps.
No, but not a mobile app. Imagine that. Like, you're like, calm down, Keyan.
I actually don't think it'd probably be allowed on the App Store.
Hold'em? No, there's Hold'em games.
Are there?
Yeah.
Because you can't earn money doing them is the problem.
Oh.
Because it's gambling at that point.
Wait, is gambling illegal?
Gambling is legal, sir. Oh. At least I think so. Maybe it's not in Texas, but I'm pretty sure on the App Store they don't let you do.
Bill
gambling.
first, ask for permission later, right? Isn't that the saying?
Well, no, because you have to ask for permission to get on the App Store. Unfortunately, they figured that out.
Satoshi Pocket. The
next top story is a template for making Lightning apps, and so it's like a web app, like a boilerplate web app that has authentication already built into it.
Whoa.
WebLN, which is like this protocol.
Yeah, it's you have that.
Albi likes to use.
Don't you have
what do I have?
I don't know what you have.
I do have Lightning authentication. I do support WebLN, and I do have QR codes. So I do all of this stuff. I do it differently than they do. I use like different software and frameworks to do it. But it's a really nice starting point for someone who might want to implement these kinds of things in an app. Maybe, wouldn't know where to start otherwise. Templates are just good in general.
Can I see the Git real quick?
Here's the Git.
Everybody's going so fast this bear market. I love it. Look at that. Deploy on DigitalOcean? How much does it cost for that?
I don't know. I've never deployed on DigitalOcean before. But I don't have an account on DigitalOcean, so I assume it's probably not too bad.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but pretty cool.
That's another thing I should make an article about. Look at that.
Yeah, there's lots of people who want to get started with Lightning, and this would be a nice place. So
yeah, do a how-to.
Yeah. So the next top story is from now. Watching the Baltic Honey Badger conference, noticed something that Jack Mahler's commented on.
Did he go to it?
He did not go to it. I don't think. But they have the video recordings up, so that's pretty cool. But I guess toward the end of his talk, he revealed that what Strike is going to start doing is paying open source wallet developers for when their wallets pay at a Strike terminal at a merchant. So, Strike apparently is going to be releasing some kind of device for merchants to accept Lightning payments on. And then to incentivize the ecosystem of wallets to, probably be compatible and give a wide variety of options for interacting with their merchant terminal. They're trying to incentivize, they're going to pay devs to do that. I guess it sounds like they haven't totally worked out the model. If you're familiar kind of with how Lightning works, what you'd do is you'd send Strike from the wallet you've developed. You'd send Strike the pre-image that you're going to pay. And if the pre-image corresponds to the merchant's device's pre-image that Strike has generated for them, and then that payment happens, Strike will then give you a little bit of money, apparently, as the open source developer. There are concerns around privacy and stuff, obviously, and I guess the model isn't super worked out. There's some conversation in the thread about it.
What was Snout pointing out to? I guess. What was Now trying to say?
He was just trying to say this is kind of interesting. Jack Mallers presented this idea as a way to like fund open source devs, and this might be. It sounds kind of cool. It also sounds I don't know, maybe not great for privacy, because one of the things that is great about Lightning is that sender privacy is pretty freaking good, and so this maybe kind of gets in the way of that. So we'll see how it develops. I'm sure Strike has good intentions with it, and they don't mean to reduce the privacy of people purchasing things at merchants, but still pretty cool that he found this. I haven't watched any of the Baltic Honey Badger things yet, except from like a clip or two, and so curious what went on there. But yeah, pretty neat to see that happen, and that Strike is trying to get some open source developers paid.
Cool.
Yeah. Next top story. Oh, this is actually your top story.
So I picked this top story because I think it was like 5 a.m. on a Monday maybe.
Yeah.
And I saw this at the top of Stacker News, and I woke up because I'm doing my regimen again. Waking up early, and I was looking at it, and I was like, scandal. And I was like, Keyan loves scandal, and I sent it over to Keyan. I was like, Keyan, did you see this? But you were asleep, I guess.
Probably.
What do you think, Keyan?
What did I think? It seems it's not totally unexpected, I guess.
It's not scandalous enough for you?
No, Boomy explained in the comments. Boomy is one of the co-founders of Alby, and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry that this happened. It's a huge mess up on our part. They've since taken it down, but they have Alby has people that work for them that source content like this and develop projects for them and stuff, and likely one of them took the work without attribution, and they didn't check to make sure it hadn't come from somewhere else before they posted it, and so
so my whole thing on this is kind of like, you should definitely check whatever's being written, especially with Throw Bitcoin. I definitely, whenever I have somebody submit something, I always look at it and review it. If I'm writing something myself,
do you check online if they're?
Yeah, I just throw it in Google search. There's actual websites you can pay for that'll tell you the amount of stuff that's been taken from other places. But I think in my situation where you're writing about projects and stuff, you don't need to attribute the project because the whole thing is about the project. So you're directly pulling from their site. You're adding a little bit to it. Same thing with PR releases. If you get a PR release from Texas, or let's say the Beef Initiative, most of it's already written for you. You got to go in there and change the little things. But in this situation where you have developers trying to do their own kind of thing like that with their own blogs, you got to be careful who you get in there to actually write those blogs. Sometimes it's better just to write it yourself if you can, or get a nice little synopsis and then hand it off to somebody to take that synopsis and give it some filler and some images and stuff like that. So, but yeah, in this situation where it's an actual thing, at the very least, I know back in the early days before Fountain came out, all that information that was coming about Podcasting 2.0 was coming from Breeze. So whenever I looked at it and would write articles about Podcasting 2.0, I would attribute Breeze, where I was grabbing the information, and I would link to it and share it and stuff like that. Still, I would use their model to recreate whatever I was writing about, but it was still hey, I'm writing about Podcasting 2.0. A lot of the stuff that I'm sourcing from is from Breeze. I need to make sure to put them in here and directly let everybody know that they're kind of the leader in this thing. And I think in that situation where, but I understandably for Oscar, they put a lot of time into it. Yeah, dude, that's a lot of work.
And it was upsetting to them. Oscar
Oscar
created a Notion site that kind of lays out the similarities to kind of show that it's not merely a small plagiarism. It's word for word, kind of just copy paste. So kind of a bummer. But again, I think Alby has course corrected and removed it. If you go to their Value for Value podcaster guide,
They still leave it up?
Which one was it? I think.
What is podcast YouTube?
If you link, I think it's like like this one, this one that they specifically took, they removed.
But even in this situation though, even there still now though, Keyan, you still gotta reference, like as Albie, you should reference Fountain. Like, I don't know, man. I think I just believe that we're an open space. We're a very small group of individuals, and we have to work together to get us to that final climb. And if we can't, talk about each other and help each other and push each other up, then what's the point of doing this whole thing? It just doesn't make any sense. It's like shooting your toe to, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think the knowing Boomy and Moritz over at Albie, I think they'll probably be more aware of this stuff in the future, and I'm glad Oscar brought it to their attention.
But even there, like, there should be a number 9. What players can you listen to? I can listen to Fountain. I can listen to like all of them. They should be.
Well, I think Albie is like somewhat competing with them, and so maybe that's why they don't list them out.
There is no competition right now. Like,
yeah, I'm not. I mean, I don't know exactly the reasoning again, and it sounds like the founders of Albie didn't write this themselves, so someone else is writing this, and maybe
it's the bear market, man. Bear market. Egos.
Yeah. Anyway, my top story, which is just kind of a little silly top story, is someone built keys.lol.
Yeah, what was this?
Which is a website demonstrating like the actual space of private keys, like how big it is. Like if I were to try to guess your private key, I'd have a 1 in 2 to the 256 chance of guessing your private key.
Is that good or bad?
It's good because it's that number is absurdly large. 2 to the 256. Like, if I wanted to guess one of the private keys that has been used for storing Bitcoin, in order for me to do it, it would have to have the luck of someone who won 10 Powerball lotteries, basically. Like, it's extremely difficult to do. Like, you know how rare it is to win a Powerball lottery, but it's like you have to win 10 of them to be able to find one address which might not even have any Bitcoin on it at all. Anyway, it's a really fun website. You can kind of you can basically browse this key space, and it lets you like cursor over this incredibly large key space that you'd never have enough time in a lifetime to really walk over the entire thing. But it's just demonstrating to you how hard it is to guess private keys, basically, is what it is. And so you can kind of like play an incredibly unlikely lottery here and just cursor through these and try to find a Bitcoin address and a private key to a Bitcoin address with Bitcoin on it. And it's kind of a silly.
I think you forgot to mention the fact that our guy Ken is the one that posted this. And if I look at that title again, it does not rap. What is going on, Ken?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. What's up now, Ken? Ken, you're not rapping.
Ken is resident poet on Stacker News.
Keys.lol, a fun website to demonstrate a whole lot of shellal. How hard was that, Ken?
I guess not too hard.
There you go.
Anyway,
if you're gonna do it, do it all the way, Ken.
Wow.
Half measures on Stacker
Car
News.
is like calling you out, Ken.
Because look, did he put a comment in there?
I don't think so, but he does it most of the other places. I don't expect him.
I expect him
to always rhyme.
He should rhyme.
I expect him just most of the time to pleasantly grace a thread with a rhyme.
Stay the course.
Anyway, fun little story.
His next one's gonna be a rhyme.
But that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot.
It's been a slow week.
It has been a little bit.
In news.
I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in top that we just didn't cover. There was this Vice article on your ISP selling data that eventually ends up to like in the hands of governments and other private companies that might want to see like your browsing history and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh, that was Nick.
Yeah, a variety of cool stuff. IDRA, this guy's proposing a new overlay network that's actually incentivized with Bitcoin.
We didn't talk about the Kraken thing. I thought you were going to be all over that.
Oh no! I mean, what do I care? So Jesse Powell, he stepped down. Is that?
Yeah, I would have thought you would have been like, "Oh, what's going on?"
I mean, I am curious given how he seems to be a Bitcoiner, even though he runs a shitcoin exchange.
It sounds like people are leaving Kraken. It's word on the street.
Yeah, it might be changing. There's a lot of good stories. There was this original content by Noel Count. He asked you to consider like how Bitcoin would work in an interplanetary system. So if there are people like colonizing Mars, like what are some of the things that we would need to do to make Bitcoin work on Mars? And it's a fun thread. There's a lot of fun stuff that happened in the week that doesn't get covered that you can find in top, especially if you're not like on Stacker News all the time.
Yeah, and then also the Stacker News newsletter. Chill it, Keyan.
The newsletter. We have a newsletter. If you sign up with the email, you get. Otherwise, you can go to your settings and subscribe to it. But we cover some of this stuff in that newsletter, and it's not too bad sometimes. Sometimes I rant in the little thing at the top.
Yeah, you do at the top. I think you said something last week. I was like, what's going on?
Sometimes I get kind of upset about something.
Like, what's going on with this guy? You should do a whole Airbnb rant this weekend.
Oh no, I think I already did one. I think I already did an Airbnb rant. One when I was shilling. I think it was when I was shilling Bitcoin plus last time. I did an Airbnb rant. Like, hey, if you're coming to Bitcoin plus, don't stay in an Airbnb. It's ruining the neighborhoods in Austin.
So we got some boosts to go over. Last week on the episode, the ending of a Scooby-Doo episode, SNL 33. We had some supporters, Blockchain Boog, Oscar, Sparky, Gladoak, and Gianni Ringo. And then Blockchain Boog, who's our main fan out there. He's a big fan of Keyan. He goes, yeah.
Yeehaw. That's right, guys.
Blockchain Boog.
I end every email with yeehaw.
Blockchain Boog loves you. He's a big fan of Keyan. Blockchain Boog. I don't know who that person is.
He's a fan of the show. He's Blockchain B on Stacker News. See him around a lot. Very good community member.
Doxed,
I would say. But thank you for the sats, Blockchain Boog. I think that's it for the week, Car.
Yeah, just want to remind people, if you want to see more of Stacker News Live, be sure to hit that boost button. We appreciate it. Also, we're on YouTube. We don't talk about it ever, but we are. Subscribe. And also hit subscribe on your podcast feed, if whatever you use, Fountain, Apple Music, whatever. Just hit subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Keyan.